Welcome to Pebbletown, where every day is a sunny day and every day is filled with adventure. But what is this? Strange rumbles have started shaking the sidewalks of Pebbletown. No one knows why except one clever little dino in a trench coat and hat. Get ready for adventure with Dex the Dino Detective. Once upon a time in Pebbletown, there was a dino who wasn't like the other dinos. While the rest of the dinos loved nothing more than lazing around in the sun, Dex dreamed of faraway lands and exciting adventures. In fact, Dex wanted to be a detective. And thanks to his big brain and even bigger heart, he was the best detective Pebbletown had ever seen. Dex wore a detective hat on his head, carried a spyglass in his hand, and most importantly, always had a magnifying glass around his neck. No mystery was too big or too small for Dex and his trusty magnifying glass. One day as Dex was sniffing around a puddle, looking for clues to a missing sock mystery, the ground shook beneath his feet. Flower pots tipped over. Books fell off shelves. And old Mrs. Pickle's delicious-smelling soup flew right out the window. What on earth could be causing all that ruckus? To find out, Dex quickly put on his detective hat, grabbed his magnifying glass, and hurried down the street. As he followed the trail of destruction left behind by the mysterious culprit, he noticed something interesting. A set of muddy claw prints stamped into the sidewalk. Looks like our culprit was a dino with sharp claws and muddy paws. Dex continued following the tracks until he came across a broken tree branch on the side of the road. It looked like whoever or whatever had left these footprints had also knocked this branch off its tree. Dex took a closer look at the branch with his magnifying glass. Aha! A few scrappy feathers stuck to the bark. This mystery was getting interesting. Dex knew that not many dinos had sharp claws, feathers, and a taste for soup. The obvious suspect was Fang, the fearsome meat-eater who lived on the outskirts of town. But as Dex crept through the tall grass towards Fang's cave, he noticed something else. The muddy paw prints didn't match Fang's footprints at all. And besides, if Fang had escaped, his sharp teeth would have left marks on the tree branch. Dex could tell that Fang hadn't done this. So who had? Following his gut and those muddy paw prints, Dex walked past the vegetable patch, the river, and the bakery until he reached an old hollow tree. He peered inside, but it was dark and dusty. He couldn't see anything. Then he smelled something amazing. It smelled like fresh fish and berries and sweet nectar. Could this be the source of the commotion? With his dino nose twitching with excitement, Dex crawled through the hole in the tree. But as soon as he squeezed through, the ground collapsed beneath him, and he tumbled, bounced, boinged, and finally landed with a soft thud in a heap on the ground. Looking around, Dex realized that he had fallen into a deep underground cavern. The walls were sparkling, with hundreds of huge green crystals that glowed with an eerie light. But that wasn't the only amazing thing about this place. In the center of the room, Dex spotted a small figure huddled inside a crystal cage. As he got closer, he realized it was a baby dino, no bigger than a pebble. His eyes were drooping, his tail was heavy, and his belly was rumbling like an earthquake. "Hello," whispered Dex. "Are you okay?" The baby dino lifted his head, and let out a tiny sniffle. "I am so tired," he whimpered. "And my tummy is so hungry." It took Dex a moment to understand what the baby dino was saying. "You're trapped," he exclaimed. "Don't worry, I'm here to help." Dex searched everywhere for a way to free the baby dino, but everything he tried failed. He pushed against the crystal bars, but they wouldn't budge. He pulled at the cage door, but it was locked. He even tried pushing the cage over, but it was too heavy. Finally, Dex sat down on a nearby rock, defeated. This mystery was more challenging than he had thought. He needed a new plan, something to break through the bars of the cage without any brute strength. Suddenly, Dex remembered his detective handbook lying in his satchel. He opened it up and began to search through the pages. Aha! Here it was. Kindness can crack the hardest shell. Kindness. How could he use kindness to break the crystal bars? Then Dex remembered something his wise grandma told him once. She said that when she missed her family terribly, she would sing a special dino lullaby to feel better. Dex knew just what to do. He stood up straight, took a deep breath, and began to sing a slow, gentle tune. At first, the crystals didn't react at all. But as Dex continued singing his grandma's special song, the whole cavern began to glow a faint pink. Then the crystals surrounding the cage began to melt away, revealing a tiny keyhole. With a loud click, the cage door swung open, and the baby dino stumbled out, blinking in the newfound light. "Thank you," he said, nuzzling against Dex. "My name is Niblet." "What's yours?" "My name is Dex," replied the young dino. "And I'm a detective." Suddenly, the ground rumbled again, and a large chunk of rock fell from the ceiling, blocking the entrance to the cavern. "Oh dear," cried Niblet. "How will we escape now?" But Dex quickly put on his detective hat and sniffed the air. He had a plan. Taking Niblet by the hand, Dex led him back to the tree and shouted as loud as he could. "Help me, everyone! I need your hands to push this rock away." Soon enough, all the dinos from Pebbletown had gathered together. Working as a team, they managed to move the boulder away from the entrance. Then they gasped in amazement at what they found. Inside the cavern was a secret garden full of sparkling crystals, juicy fruits, and friendly dinos. Everyone cheered as Niblet ran to greet his dino friends. But Dex wasn't done. He turned to the rest of the crowd and said, "We need to find Niblet's parents. Someone must have trapped him here to keep him away from danger. But I don't know any dinos who could do such a thing." A little triceratops piped up from the crowd. "My dad works in the crystal caves. Maybe he knows who did this." Together, Dex and the little triceratops searched for Niblet's parents. Finally, they found them sitting nervously on a nearby rock. "Niblet, my little guy," cried his mom. She rushed over and gave him the tightest hug ever. Then she turned to Dex and thanked him with a warm smile. "You'll be a great detective someday, Dex," she said. "Just remember to always follow your heart." From that day on, Dex continued to solve mysteries all over Pebbletown, but he never forgot Niblet. In fact, Niblet became his loyal sidekick for all future adventures. Together, the two dinos made the perfect detective duo, using their brains, heart, and kindness to solve every case that came their way. And that's why, no matter how big the mystery seems, remember, with a little bit of teamwork, anything is possible. The end.